The app on my phone flashed account closed. And I paused, recalling my father's lecture from years ago. No more trust fund money until you get a respectable job like your brother, he had said. No daughter of mine is wasting her life tinkering with startups from a laptop. Now at 26, I sat in my sleek office on the 92nd floor of Manhattan's priciest skyscraper, running a $12 billion investment fund that specialized in struggling banks. My family had no idea. They still assumed I was learning the value of hard work, as my mother always insisted, probably as a waitress somewhere. Miss Chin, my assistant's voice crackled over the intercom. The report on First Heritage Bank just came in. Their condition is worse than anticipated. First Heritage, the very bank where my father once sat on the board, where my brother held an important VP title, and where generations of our family had built their prestige, was now crumbling. Send it over, I said, already bracing for the inevitable. The report was grim but predictable. Mismanaged loans, outdated systems, and a complete inability to adapt to digital banking had left First Heritage dangerously exposed. Their stock had been falling quietly for months, yet my family's pride prevented them from acknowledging the crisis. My phone vibrated with another reminder of Sunday dinner at 7. Another invitation to watch my brother flaunt his bank achievements while my mother subtly suggested which banker I should date. I had skipped these dinners for half a year. The thought of sitting through another evening of family pretenses made me queasy. Claire, I called to my CFO. What's our current stake in First Heritage? She tapped her tablet. Through multiple shell companies and offshore accounts, we hold 47% of their shares. One more round and we'll have a controlling interest. They still think our investments are coming from separate small shareholders. A slow smile spread across my face. For years, I had quietly listened at family dinners as my father and brother grumbled about troublesome minor investors, never realizing the complaint was about me. The shareholders' meeting is next week, Claire continued. They expect you to attend, though they don't know your identity, of course. The CEO wants to meet the mysterious Ms. Zhang. Ms. Zhang, my mother's maiden name, my alias in the world I had quietly built. For 3 years I had operated in the shadows, transforming failing banks, acquiring influence, and becoming an unseen force in finance, all without my family ever suspecting. Schedule the final purchase 10 minutes before the meeting, I instructed. I want to walk in holding 51% of First Heritage Bank. Remember, Claire reminded me, your family will be there. Your father's board seat, your brother's position. All under review once you assume control. I confirmed the final executive positions and smiled. Another buzz from my phone. A message from my brother. Hey sis, still playing investor? If you want a real job, I could use an assistant at the bank. I didn't reply. Not yet. I drew in a steady breath, recalling the day they cut me out of their plans. Mom had been in tears, lamenting how I was throwing away my education. Dad had threatened to disinherit me. My brother, smug as ever, offered to put in a good word for me at the bank. Claire, I said as I rose, make sure the takeover team is ready and bring my car around. I have shopping to do. Shopping? Someone murmured. I smiled to myself. If I was going to shatter my family's expectations about my career, I wanted to do it looking perfect. After all, First Heritage Bank was about to discover that their worst nightmare wasn't some shadowy investor named Ms. Zhang. It was the daughter they had written off as a failure. The boardroom of First Heritage Bank hummed with tension. Through the glass walls, I could see my father fussing with his tie for the 10th time, my brother puffing up as if he belonged, and Mom sitting quietly in the observer section, probably wondering why I hadn't answered her latest text about some suitable banker. Miss Zhang's representatives are here, the COO announced, his voice tight. No one had ever laid eyes on the mysterious investor quietly buying up the company's shares. I checked my phone. 9:50 a.m. 10 minutes remained until the final shares transferred. My team is already in place. All documents are ready, I thought, feeling a thrill of anticipation. That's a stunning Chanel suit, a woman whispered as I took a seat in the back. Are you with a board member? I smiled at the irony, recalling all the times I had been dismissed in rooms like this. Something like that, I replied silently. At exactly 10 a.m. my phone buzzed. Claire's message was concise. 51% confirmed. I now own First Heritage Bank. The CEO stepped to the podium trying to appear composed. Before we begin, I'd like to address. I stood, my heels clicking against the marble. There's a change in the agenda, I said. The room fell silent. Mom clutched her throat. Dad's face turned from confused to pale. My brother's smugness froze and cracked. Sarah, he stammered. What are you doing here? This is a shareholders meeting. I know, I said, handing the CEO a folder. As of 10 minutes ago, I own 51% of First Heritage Bank. These documents confirm the transfer of controlling interest to my fund. The CEO trembled as he read the papers. This can't be. One of the board members, he stammered. Miss Zhang is one of my holding companies, I replied, taking my place at the head of the table. I am Sarah Chin, CEO of Phoenix Capital Partners. Some of you might remember me as the daughter who needed to learn the value of a real job. Mom made a strangled sound. Dad looked like he'd seen a ghost. This is absurd, my brother barked. Sarah plays on her laptop. She can't be your new boss. I smiled, projecting my fund's portfolio onto the screen. Phoenix Capital Partners. $12 billion in assets, specializing in banking acquisitions and turnarounds, ranked the most successful private investment fund in the sector. Board members stared at the list of banks we had acquired and revived. Dad gripped the table as he recognized competitors who had risen from the brink of collapse under my guidance. Now, I continued, let's talk about your digital strategy or lack thereof. Why is First Heritage operating like it's 1985? We have a digital strategy, my brother protested weakly. You have an app that crashes constantly, security that a teenager could bypass, and a mobile platform that looks like it was built decades ago. Your loan approvals still require paper forms. The COO cleared his throat. Miss Chin, perhaps we should discuss this privately? Oh, now you want privacy? I said, savoring it. When my team suggested modernization 6 months ago, you dismissed us as young and inexperienced. Dad finally found his voice. Sarah, honey. I cut him off. Board members should address the majority shareholder formally at official meetings. Family titles can wait until dinner. If I'm invited. Mom furiously typed on her phone, likely informing everyone at the country club about her daughter's meteoric rise. First order of business, I said, opening my laptop. A full review of all executive positions, including the board of directors. My brother's face cycled through every shade of panic. Dad's hands tightened on the table. But I paused, smiling. Before that, who wants to discuss the value of a real job? All hands went up, including my brother's, though it shook visibly. 2 hours later, the old guard of First Heritage Bank had been completely dismantled. My father sat quietly, witnessing decades of his cautious banking strategies vanish in a matter of minutes. Perfect. I closed my laptop. The transition team reports tomorrow. Everyone will get emails about their new roles. Mom hadn't budged from her chair, gripping her phone like a lifeline. The last text I saw her send read, "Cancel dinner with Richard's son. My daughter owns banks now." Meeting adjourned, I declared. Everyone shuffled out except the Chins. We had private matters to address. As the room emptied, the tension was almost tangible. Dad stared at his reflection on the glossy table. Mom dabbed at her eyes with her embroidered handkerchief. Michael looked pale as if he might be sick. 3 years, I finally said. 3 years of when will you get a real job? 3 years of being the family disappointment. 3 years of watching Michael flaunt his vice presidency, while I quietly orchestrated your bank's rescue. Mom began softly, "Sweetheart, we only wanted to guide you toward what we thought was success." I brought up the bank's financials on the screen. While you were playing status games at social clubs, I was protecting a dying institution. First Heritage was on the brink because of your adherence to outdated practices. Dad's voice shook. We were preserving a legacy. No, I said. You were clinging to the past while the future moved on. Do you know why I used Mom's maiden name for my fund? They looked confused. Because the Chin name mattered more to you than my own ambitions. You were so obsessed with appearances that you couldn't see reality changing around you. Michael broke the silence. So this is revenge? You took over the bank to punish us. I laughed. Revenge? Michael, I saved your careers. In 6 months, First Heritage would have collapsed. My fund is what kept your stock from plummeting over the past year. Dad protested. That's impossible. We would have known. Really? I replied. Like you knew your daughter was running a $12 billion investment fund? I fixed them with a look. You stopped seeing clearly a long time ago. Mom wiped away tears. All those dinners you missed. I was busy saving your bank, I said. It's hard to enjoy family meals when everyone treats you like a failure. I stood adjusting my jacket. Here's the new arrangement. Dad, you keep your board seat as honorary chairman. No authority, just the title you adore. Michael, you'll start in our digital training program from scratch. Learn how modern banking functions. And Mom, you can continue hosting dinners, I said. Just stop trying to set me up with executives. I don't date employees. I felt lighter than I had in years. Oh, and Sunday dinners? I'll come on one condition. Anything, Mom said immediately. We rotate venues. My penthouse has the best view of all the banks I control, including this one. As I left, Dad called. Sarah, when did you become so powerful? I glanced back, recalling all those times I'd quietly listened at the dinner table as they underestimated me. Dad, you just never paid attention. In the elevator, my phone buzzed with dozens of missed calls. Relatives discovering their overlooked family member had become a financial powerhouse. A text from Claire popped up. Next target identified. Another family-run bank needing modernization. I smiled, picturing the stunned faces left in the boardroom. Success isn't about proving your family wrong. It's about proving their idea of success was mistaken. I typed back to Claire. Book the cleaning crew for my penthouse. Hosting Sunday dinner this week. Let's show them what the hobby investor has built. After all, revenge is sweet, but undeniable success tastes even better. Especially served with a side of humble pie.